Hello and welcome to another video from the University of New Money, also your University of New Mercy. This is unm.nu. I'm doing a couple of videos that are just kind of random today after my nice walk to Old Town, and one of them is based on this physics problem I helped my cousin with sometime earlier this year that I wanted to share with you. I always enjoyed physics in high school. And so if you look at the problem, the case is that an object is shot out of a cannon at 27 meters per second at an angle of 30 degrees to the horizontal. And so I wrote down all the information at the beginning that your velocity in the x direction would be 27 meters per second times the cosine of 30 degrees. Your velocity in the y direction would be 27 meters per second times sine of 30, because sine relates to the vertical and cosine relates to the horizontal. And then your acceleration in the y direction or vertically is gravity, which is 9.8 meters per second squared, and it's negative because it's going downward. So the first part of the problem is, when does the object hit the ground? Well, you have the equation that the velocity of y is equal to its initial velocity plus the acceleration times time. So in this case, you have negative 27 sine of 30 degrees, that's your velocity in the y direction from above, is equal to, and actually in this case, so that's a negative because when the object hits the ground, it's going the opposite velocity than when it started. So when it started, it was going up at 27 meters per second times the sine of 30. But when it hits the ground, because we're assuming there's no air resistance or anything like that, is it would have the opposite velocity when it hits the ground than when it started. So you have negative 27 sine of 30 on the left side of the equation is equal to 27 sine of 30, and then minus 9.8, which is meters per second squared, that's the pull of gravity times time. So going through this equation, you end up with 2.755 seconds is the length of time it takes for this object from when it leaves the cannon right there until it hits the ground. Now the next part of the problem is, what is the maximum height of this object? Well, then you want to use the equation y equals the initial position, which you could just set as 0, plus the initial velocity times time, in which case this object will be at its maximum height at half of the time it takes to hit the ground, because if you look at this would be parabolic. So initially this object is going up right here, it's going to hit some maximum height right here, and then it's going to come down and hit the ground right here. This thing is very symmetrical. It's just going to be a parabola right here. So when it's at its maximum height would be half of the time it takes to hit the ground. So you just divide the 2.755 by 2 and you get 1.3775. Go ahead and plug those numbers into the equation. You get the maximum height is 9.3 meters. And then in terms of the maximum distance, well, you know that the time it takes to hit the ground is 2.755, so just plug that into the x equation as shown on the screen right here, using the x equals initial position, which you can just set to 0, and then plus 27 cosine of 30, which again, based on our initial equations up here, is shown on the screen right there. And then in terms of the x acceleration, we set it equal to 0 because we assume no air resistance. So like up here we have the acceleration of y as negative 9.8 meters per second squared due to gravity, but we're assuming there's no air resistance, so the second part of the equation right here just zeroes out because the acceleration in the x direction is 0. So anyway, this is a problem I helped my cousin with that I enjoyed physics in high school. I enjoyed it in college. I don't really do physics too much these days. So it's nice to pick my brain to see if I could remember how to do this stuff, and really enjoyed working on this problem. So anyway, if you enjoyed this physics problem or enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified of future videos that come out. Some of them might be kind of random like this one. But you weren't expecting to see a physics problem on this channel today. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it and hope you all take care. Have a great day.